Hi, I'm Twyla.
And I'm Natalie.
And this is Twyla and Natalie,
where we chat with you about all the joys and pitfalls of being a grown woman.
That's right. Every show we ask a question, usually something to do with our lives. And we kind of talk about it from our perspective. And we hope to talk about it a little bit from sort of a universal perspective. And in the end, hopefully we'll come up with an answer that we can live with and not something that humiliates us at the end of the day.
If we haven't embarrassed ourselves too bad, it's a good day.
You know, then if we have, it's just a Tuesday.
That's right.
So it's all right. All right. This week's question, I think this is perfect timing. We're hitting a change of season, so change of schedule for people.
Sure.
Are you busy or are you melodramatic?
You know, I have strong feelings about this one.
Okay.
I have strong feelings about it. It's funny because my instinct is to say, I have always thought, no, actually not true. It's been more so in the last kind of year and a half. This word busy really bothers me. And I'll tell you why, because I know you're dying to know, Twyla.
Okay, go for it, girl. You know I want to know.
It bothers me because when you say I call you up and go, hey, Twyla, could you speak at my book club, let's say? And you're like, I would love to, but I'm really busy. I've got this, maybe, or when you start listing it off. That's fine. We all have things to do. And, and I love the saying, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's about what we prioritize.
Yes.
So we aren't always able to get to everything, but the truth is we're not able to get to what we didn't prioritize. And what might be a priority for me may not be a priority for you. And I feel the people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. Oh, I have all this going on. I have to do this. I'm so busy. That way, yeah, you're being melodramatic.
Okay.
And I think in truth, they're actually not busy.
Ooh, that's shots fired right there. You're not actually busy. Okay, I'll admit I am guilty of saying that I'm busy. I am a person who, when people ask me how I'm doing, and you just did this like not even 20 minutes ago, my default is to go busy but good.
Yeah.
And I don't really mean it to say, oh, ask me how complicated my life is.
Sure.
I just usually don't stop to think about all the things I'm doing until somebody asks me that question.
Sure. Yeah.
And then when they ask me, I realize there's so much stuff going on that I don't want to prioritize it. I just go, I'm busy, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm all right. So
yeah, and that's also, but even the fact that you and I have both kind of in a similar timing. Have come to the conclusion or come to where we now want to almost qualify, we want people to know, yeah, we're busy, but we're good. In other words, we're saying we're busy, but we're not melodramatic busy.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Oh,
that's what we're doing. You're doing it and I'm doing it.
You're
I
right.
do the same thing. I'm really busy, and then I go, oh, but I'm good. Things are really good.
I'm not
busy
crazy.
I'm busy doing great things.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I used to, and I think I used to just be the queen of just being like, I'm so busy.
Yeah, melodramatic.
Yeah, and you know me, and my natural default is not melodrama. I'm a lot of things. I'm quirky, I'm different, I'm a little belligerent every once in a while. But I am not melodramatic on the whole.
No.
And that would probably be the only place where it would play out really, really strongly is when somebody would ask me how's it going? Are you busy? Kind of a thing.
Sure. But then, and the other half to that though, Twyla, is how are you doing? How's it going? Really isn't asking how busy are you,
No.
And another thing I've come to learn is that really just saying, I'm good. Things are great is all anybody's looking for, unless
you know what? And then I sidebar because I have a problem with that too. It bugs me when you ask me, but you don't really care.
Well, but I have a what's it when you want to add something?
Caveat.
I have a caveat to that.
Okay.
In that, if you're sitting down with your good friend, you're sitting down with your girlfriend, you're having a conversation, you're catching up on the phone, and you're saying, hey, how are you doing? Let's get into it. If you're passing me on the street, my neighbor, hey, how are you? My neighbor doesn't necessarily want to hear all the things going on in my life in that moment as we're passing with our dogs and it's starting to rain. I think you got to read it.
Nope. Then ask me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me because I'm going to tell you. If you listen. If you
see, I was like you though, and I would actually tell people, but then I'd realize
I do.
Oh, this is how are you is more of a greeting, like hi and hello.
Then say hi and hello.
Yeah,
and I've tried to get into the habit of that.
Say,
hey girl, hey girl, nice to see you. That's all they say that to me and
Yeah,
keep it
I
moving.
say good to see you.
Yeah. I mean, I have, and I'll be honest, because everybody knows that, like I said, I do this for a living. I talk. And I talk a lot in my real life, too, which is probably something I should probably stop doing so much.
Not shocking to most.
Yeah, no, not really. It's not a surprise. And I know I have friends that love me enough to tell me, like, oh, you called earlier, but I didn't pick up because I didn't have time to talk to you. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I know me.
Uh-huh.
Even I know sometimes I don't answer the phone because if I start talking to you, I'm going to talk to you.
Yes.
And I know I don't have time for that right now. I have other things I have to do. But I would rather, I'm trying to be such a genuine person nowadays that I try not to waste life on filler now.
Yeah.
And, filler comes in the form of, if I run into you in a big box store and I'm not really your friend, you're not really my friend, but we know each other.
Sure.
I don't want to do all that. Like, hey, how's the husband? How's the kids? How's the dog? how's work? I don't want to do all that. I'll be like, oh, we're all busy in Target today. Okay, I'll see you later.
Don't you almost wish sometimes when it comes to those kinds of encounters, you could just hand each other a piece of paper, exchange slips. Here's what's new in my life. Or just say, you know what, get caught up on Facebook. I put everything on there anyways.
See, I think that's why I wear my graphic T-shirts that have like expressions on them all the time. Because I feel like those T-shirts push people back off the plate when I really need it. Like I have a shirt that's like I do what I want, and it kind of seems aggressive. So,
but that's you, and I think maybe that's part of it is you intentionally make yourself unaccessible.
Yep.
Is it inaccessible or unaccessible?
It's whatever keeps people away from me.
Not accessible.
I'm just going to say it's whatever makes you decide to turn left instead of approach. Thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And I'm more the opposite, but same. I want to have an authentic conversation. I struggle with chit chat, but that's why I'm saying this is something I've learned, especially in the last year or so, when it's a kind of, quick encounter. How are you? The expected response is, I'm great. How are you? The expected response is great. Or if it is really somebody you have a connection with, then, hey, you know what? I do have some things going on. I would love to catch up with you.
You know what? You're good about that. You're good about saying, I can't do it right now, but let's catch up.
Yeah.
And genuinely mean it. Cause I'm the queen of, you should call me.
Yeah, so you do that, and that's...
I don't mean...
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'm just confessing it right now. If I say to you, when we're in public, you should call me, don't call me. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not really super interested in talking to you for whatever reason.
There will be no second date.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like if it's that serious and you really, like if I'm really trying to get in touch with you, I will usually pull up my phone right then and say, hey, put your number in here, send me a text message, remind me so I'll follow back up.
Yeah.
Or I'll be honest, if it's somebody where I'm not going to be making all the effort here to get something connected or get something going, I will say you need to call me so that I see if you're actually going to put the effort forth to do what you need to do.
Sure, yeah.
If you're not, I'm not doing that tap dance.
Yeah.
I go, and now I run a company now.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that tap dance. I got other things to do.
Well, and do you think then that, so this idea of, are we busy or are we melodramatic?
Yes.
Is it for us, for you and I specifically, since we're the ones talking? I'm about to turn 47.
I'm 43.
43. There's that again, we're at that kind of stage starting in our lives, or it's been going on for a while, where, like you said, we're just not interested so much in the filler. We either really want to know and have a connection in a relationship.
You know what?
Or skip it.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think that goes back, even if you skip back those few years before we kind of sort of walked into that for ourselves. I think I wore busy as a badge of honor when I was younger. Like when I first had kids and they were little, and it was I'm so busy. I have to get the kids and I try to take care of the house while my husband's gone all day. And I volunteer and I do all this stuff, and then I do this and blah 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 blah. And it was just like pile the crap on. And the thing is, I was actually pretty good. I had learned really early on to be good at saying no to the things I wasn't interested in doing. So I wasn't like the PTA mom that got inundated.
Yeah.
But I do have friends that it was almost like rehab level. They had to learn how to extricate themselves because they wouldn't say no to anything.
Just say no.
Yeah. And they would say, but nobody else is going to do it. And my thing was always like, that's not true. Somebody else always figures it out.
And the rest of us are counting on the fact that you think no one else is going to do it and you're going to do it.
But I think it's like a middle on those.
There is. Somebody always steps up. And what is that saying? And this is a little morbid, but that graveyards are full of people who we couldn't live without, who the world couldn't live without.
Yeah.
You know,
That is morbid.
That is morbid.
I mean, I was just going to say, you know, PTA mom gets a little bit of a thrill for being like so dependent upon me.
I'm all, no one's going to miss you when you're dead. Yeah. Which is not it.
She's just like, give them their flowers after they're dead.
No, and of course, that is not what I mean.
No, not at all. Of course not.
What I mean is it's prioritizing.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe that's a more accurate answer and more what I'm feeling. Well, what I'm really feeling right now is this frog in my throat.
Okay. Go, well, I got you. You can clear your throat. I'll pick it up while you're clearing your throat. So that idea of prioritizing,
Yeah.
I think part of the being busy is you don't want to prioritize.
Yes.
Because busy makes you feel needed.
Yes.
And I think women oftentimes will substitute that feeling of connection or that feeling of belonging with that sense of, but you need me. Like I like this charity thing is not going to run if I'm not there to set up all 200 chairs.
Yeah.
You needed me to do that. You know, my kids can't possibly get up and get off to school this morning without somebody making their breakfast for them. They need me to do that.
So, and even if that is reality, and we all have, you know, again, we have the same 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
Many of us share the same responsibilities. But there's kind of two camps where you get either I'm so busy and da-da-da-da and I have all this, and they start listing all these things out. And it's to me, the melodramatic part is I'm just so busy. And that's kind of their answer. But
because that feels like a prompt, right? Like when somebody says that to you.
What's going on?
Yeah,
it's like vague booking.
I'm so busy.
I'm so busy.
It's just ridiculous right now. And then I'm supposed to go, oh, honey, what's going on?
Yeah. And I like what you said about it. I think there is an attachment of I'm so important because I'm so busy. What you're saying, I'm so needed because I'm so busy. We're all busy. We all have multiple things to do. We prioritize things differently. And I was thinking the other day, you know, I'm so busy, Twyla. You know, I have multiple things going on. Yeah. I prioritize, and that priority always involves some part that is for me. Even if I'm going to put my feet up for 20 minutes, for 1 hour, for 2 hours, and I'm going to read a book I'm into, or I'm going to binge watch some Real Housewives. I could have 10 other things that I really need to do, and I will make sure I still have that time in there for me.
So you're busy doing nothing.
I'm busy doing nothing.
Okay.
Almost every day.
I don't mind that. Listen,
but not all day. Not all day, Twyla. My point is, I know myself, and I know how I operate best. I know how I'm most effective. I know how to take care of myself. And sometimes that means a lot of times, or I should say more often throughout the week, taking that little bit of time for myself. And sometimes it's even longer. And I'm way more effective and I'm a way better person. And then I'll be talking to some other people who just are overwhelmed. And not that I've never been overwhelmed, that happens, but I feel it comes from, in large part, not, like you were saying, not saying no enough, not centering yourself and taking care of yourself so you are there and present in whatever it is you're doing. If you're volunteering at one thing, but your mind's going 100 miles a minute because you're so stressed about the next 3 things you got to do, you're not there in that moment, really connecting with those people.
See, now I'm not as good at being in the moment. I know that about myself. I know that when I'm in the middle of something, my head will be like one step over here going, okay, but next this is going to happen. But I kind of find myself also understanding that that's how my brain works. But I try really hard when I'm in an activity to make sure I'm giving 100% to that activity. Yeah. You know, in the best way, like I'm focused, I'm present, I'm here, I'm thinking. And when my head tries to go there, I just go, okay, I get where you're going. I get what you're going to do next. Don't worry, girl, we got it. We'll come back to it. And I'll try to make myself circle back.
Sure.
But that becomes, I think that's what kind of plays out in my head, even in the idea of, am I busy? You know, because, you know, I may be only doing one thing today, but I'm always constantly thinking about 50 things.
But do you think, Twyla, part of that, maybe it's a feeling that we feel we need to explain and tell people and put out how busy we are because we feel, is it because we feel we're not doing enough? Is it because we feel we're falling down somewhere?
No, we try to justify our space in the world. Women do that. Women feel like we need to justify the space we take up in the world. Perfect example. When our couples group of friends get together for dinners,
sure,
and we immediately sort of say hey to everybody and greet everybody, but then we split off to the boys and the girls. You can hear the boys, and the boys like, hey man, how you doing? I'm good. That's all they say. That's all they say. They go, good. And then they'll say something like, I like that shirt, man, I like that tie, whatever it is.
Yeah,
they shift.
in the moment.
When the girls shift over, like, hey, how are you, girl? Oh, it was a crazy Saturday. I'm just glad I'm here now. Did we, what cocktails are we drinking tonight? Like, we immediately start shifting to, like, making sure that it's understood that, like, I made it here by the skin of my teeth, but I'm happy to be with you.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm trying to wrap my head around, why we do that.
Because we think we don't have enough value. And here's what I say. I think that's even bigger than us as individuals. I think that's societal. I think that's one of those
I do
awful
that,
gender norms that have been that we've grown up with that assumption that we need to justify who we are. And I'll tell you, I am, as both my sisters will probably point out, kind of a bit narcissistic. I really love me. I really think highly of myself. I do. It's when you're a middle kid, you don't tend to think that way. So I've always overcompensated for that.
I don't think you can do what we do for a living and not have just a touch of it.
You gotta really think highly of yourself.
You
gotta
to really like yourself.
So I think the first time that I really got shaken and tested by that was when I had kids and I was a stay-at-home parent, and all of a sudden everyone around me and all the sort of societal norm around me was I had to justify being at home with them. It wasn't enough that I was at home with them. It wasn't enough that I'm raising human beings not to be serial killers.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I had to justify how I spend my day and where I put my time and what I do and what, like even my husband was doing it in the beginning, and I had to really, like, we had to have a real conversation at one point.
Sure. Because
he would come home and I'd be like, I've been up since 5 with 2 kids under 2 years old, feeding them and taking care of them, and they're walking, they're running into things, and I'm trying to keep them stimulated, and I'm trying to keep them alive because this is not my job. I'm not good at this job. And I was trying, and I had a bunch of guilt on top of that all of a sudden I wasn't providing for our household. I mean,
you thought you weren't.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought I wasn't because I wasn't putting financial money into the household. So he would come, I would spend hours just making sure that there was no downtime. It was kids. Okay, you going out for a nap? Okay. Laundry, floor, dinner, organizing, dusting, whatever it was that made it feel like I contributed today to the world at large.
So when you would or did you take time for yourself?
Very little.
And would you say, was that more because you actually physically couldn't, or in your mind you didn't think you could take that time?
In my mind, I felt like I couldn't take that time. It took me.
You didn't prioritize what your needs were.
No, and at the time I said I think a lot of my worth at the time had been tied up to what it was before, which is for most adults living in the modern century is you tie your worth to the ability to provide and the ability to accumulate wealth. So when you go from accumulating wealth to not accumulating wealth, it's a very hard shift to take.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden you don't, and then when you have other people around you not saying, this is good God's work that you're doing here, but saying, oh, I couldn't do this. I don't know how you spend your whole day. Or why is there stuff on the floor? What did you guys do all day? Like that kind of things. When all of a sudden people started to really talk down to me and treat me like I wasn't intelligent because I was choosing to be at home with children as opposed to, going to work and putting them in daycare or whatever it was. And that's a very hard shift. So then you wind up really really pushing yourself aside to justify the idea that if I'm home, I'm not just home. I'm not just a stay-at-home mom. Like I would hear that a lot. I would hear like, I'm not just a stay-at-home mom. I work a part-time job. I'm not just a stay-at-home mom. I sell this cosmetic or this Tupperware on the side. I'm not just a stay-at-home mom. I'm the president of this volunteer organization or this. Like it was anything to keep from just saying stay-at-home mom,
which is so insane.
Yeah, because that work is the most important work, and it's a gift if you get the opportunity to do it. Because most people can't afford to do it.
No, and you hit the nail on the head too. It is a gift. It is an opportunity. And I think you're really onto something. I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. And I felt that as well. And now what we're talking about today and how, and because I'm self-employed and most of the time I work from home, I don't have a real set schedule. My schedule moves a lot. And especially again in the last year and a half. And I'll end up working at odd times.
Right.
I try to not be working when most people are working so I can do other things.
And you know what though, but that makes it even harder because that's that weird shift from stay-at-home mom to like the entrepreneur life. Entrepreneurs don't have a clock. They have, they have what time they get up. When my husband gets up at 5 a.m., I'm usually up. And he's looking at me and I'm on my tablet and I probably look like I'm reading a romance novel, but really I'm going over the analytics, or I'm trying to come up with the next thing, or I'm reading some articles that are going to help me do this better.
Yeah. Or when do you think, because and you and I are both in the shoes of, we're both doing jobs and pursuing careers that we are things that we love doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have built an entire podcast network, and we have our show. And side of this, I work in social media and I'm a freelance writer. I love doing these things. So work doesn't feel like work.
Right. And that changes the dynamic. So,
and then there's kind of that feeling again, but that's what I'm realizing as you said that.
Yeah. But
that's where it comes from.
Now it's not busy to justify my space in the world.
Yeah.
Now it's really, hey, like I got a bunch of stuff going on and I kind of love that I have a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, exactly. Or it doesn't even, and it's by design. My life isn't the way it is today because I'm lucky. I had to work, and I still work to keep it this way, and I work to grow it and to build it so that I can maintain having my life this way and having the flexibility that I do. But again, when it gets to where you're kind of working different hours, and like I get up and I immediately start working. And again, it could look like I'm doing anything because I'm reading content or, analytics, like you were saying, things like that. That doesn't look like work to the rest of the world, similar to when I was a stay-at-home mom. Yeah.
And like I said, I kind of count my blessings in that I had that time and I went through that little sort of crisis of conscience of,
Sure.
am I like, what is my value in the world right now like this? Because I was fortunate because not everybody gets to that the thought process I got to, which was, this is a privilege. This is a gift. As long as I'm getting it, I'm going to have a good time with it. So then I stopped apologizing for everything, because I would catch myself apologizing, being like, well, I meant to flip the mattresses today, but the kids were doing this, and then dinner took this long, and this, and then this took this long. And I used to really feel like I had to justify every single second of my day. And then I got to, it probably took like a good 3 or 4 years. Then I got to the point where I would get calls and it'd be like, well, what did you do today? We were at the park. We colored. and then I would have friends that be like, I don't know how you play with your kids all day. I don't even really know how to do that. And I'm like, I'm sorry that's something that you don't get to do. Because what I did today? I played dress up with 4-year-olds and we built a fort out of pillows. And that's how I spent my afternoon. And it was the coolest flipping day. And like it was, that's, you kind of realize that that's kind of where life happens, in those in between moments.
Yeah.
Where if I was so busy being busy, I wasn't letting life happen. I wasn't stopping to enjoy the fact that I had these 2 little kids who were adorable, and and somehow
you were too busy
justifying
them. Your existence.
Yeah, I was too busy being like, okay, well they've got to be immaculate, and the house has to be immaculate, and and everything. And then all of a sudden it became, you know what? This is going to be this is the fun part. The fun part is they're learning, they're becoming these people.
Well, let me throw this at you, Twyla.
Okay, go for it.
I would bet you, and again, because I'm in a position where, I don't leave and go to an office 8 to 9 hours a day. And my work schedule is constantly changing depending on what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm trying to put my frame of mind in the shoes of, you look at a mom who does have that, where she works outside of the home or has a career that takes her away from her home. When I'm home working, I can still flip the laundry. I can let the dog out.
Right. Absolutely.
There's all those things while I'm working I can do. And for me, I love it.
Okay.
I absolutely love it. But I have had friends where that wasn't their situation. They really loved what they did outside of the home, whether they were a teacher or they were in accounting or they were lawyers. It becomes almost the opposite, because I think they feel judged for their lack of time with their kids.
They do.
So then the busyness becomes, the
it's
business, kind of the same thing.
Well, it's like the PTA moms are like, oh, it's the bake sale, like that, like in that. Have you ever seen the movie Bad Moms?
Yes.
And
twice.
And I love the part where like she shows up and they're like, the bake sale's happening and it has to be, peanut free and organic
and gluten free and no soy,
no
dairy.
And we prefer it homemade. Like that whole kit. And I've seen that play itself out too. Yeah. But this will be my one little slight segue into feminism. I haven't done it yet, so I'm going to do it now. That's ultimately what feminism is. When people talk about it, feminism by definition is equal rights between men and women. We want them to be treated the same. within feminism, an important tenet is women need to be free to make their own choices and not be judged for those choices. So if your happy place is a job that takes you away from your home, you know, a week out of the month or 2 weeks out of the month, but you have devised a system where your kids have access to you, you have access to them, your household runs, everybody's happy because everybody's able to follow their passions. And when you're together, you're really together and you enjoy that time.
Yeah.
Then you're doing it right.
That's
no
right.
one's, it's not my place to tell you you're doing it wrong. It's not. And if my happy place is staying at home with my kids and making the meals and folding the laundry and, you know, and being June Cleaver, and that's my happy place, it is not anybody's place to tell me that I'm wrong. You're allowed. That's half of one of the most important pieces of this. Is
exactly.
Make your own choice.
And even if your happy place is not to have kids at all, God bless you.
Thank you.
You're
allowed to do that.
that.
Right. And that's a part of it, because I think we assign some of this idea of busy to the idea of busy and worth. Is we judge what the busy is. Yeah. We don't just say it's not.
You mean you mean we judge it in other people?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we even judge it. I think we even judge it in ourselves.
Sure.
If I spent Saturday being busy organizing my comic book collection, I mean, it was busy for me. I got 300 books. It's busy for me. But if I tell you, you say, what did you do Saturday? Oh, girl, I was busy. I had to reorganize my whole comic book collection. X-Men were all messed up. If you don't know me, your first thing is like, that's okay.
So maybe the challenge to ourselves is stop justifying our existence or what we're doing. Be good with where you're at, what you're doing, or change it and do what it is you want to do.
Right.
Find what your happy place is for that. And so that you are prioritizing, so you don't feel that need or that urge to be melodramatic about everything that you have going on. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks, if they think or how, what they judge to be busy. If you want to spend the day playing with your comic books, that is your organizing.
Thank you.
Organizing your comic books.
I play with the minifigures. I don't organize the comic books.
Then that is your happy place. And I know I want to challenge myself to being more honest about it. I had a friend call me the other day. It was a weekday in the afternoon, and I was taking some Natalie time.
Right.
And she calls me, oh, what are you up to? I'm like, nothing. I am doing nothing. Right. I mean, I don't even have the TV on, nothing. I'm literally laying in a recliner, drinking some sparkling water, doing nothing. I'm even ignoring the dog. Of course, that's more than she needed to know.
Right.
She was like, I guess you're doing nothing.
No, she was just like, I was just trying to say, hey.
So she's like, so is this a good time to talk? I'm like, yeah.
But I think that's part of it too. Like and I think in my head when we asked this question, I was thinking to myself, like in my head, what does busy mean to me? But I was also thinking in my head, what does melodramatic mean to me? Because I think I have little tenets that I keep with me that if I'm rolling into melodrama, I try to make myself go, girl, you're being real dramatic right now. Calm down. And I can see it when it's happening. Yeah. And I've been trying to teach my kids that too. I have a child that's getting pretty close to getting on her period and things like that. So drama is high in this house all the time anyway. But I kind of have like a little like set of tenets in my head. So if these things start to happen or I catch myself doing these things, then it's like, okay, calm down. Yeah, you're doing. I in our house we say you're doing the most. Yeah, so I know this is when I know I'm doing the most. If I am all of a sudden hysterical about things that you don't need to be hysterical about. Yeah, like things that just don't matter. Like all of a sudden I am hysterical about how the towels are being folded. Like I'll go to take a moment. Yeah, like I'll go down to where your comic books are kept and just start going through them. I mean, and honest
go to your happy place.
Yeah, I'll go in the bathroom and like I'm going just to random. I need a washcloth or something. Like, who folded these to the left? Why? This is not how we do things. Yeah, that's like red flag number one. It's not an important. It's an absolute not important thing. And
so it's a red flag that you're not balancing out.
Yeah, that I'm freaking out, and I need to
what
just calm down.
Solves that? What calms you down? Are you saying then that's to find that me time? Because that's what I'm talking about. Is when I find myself imbalanced, I need more. Sometimes I don't. Time.
Sometimes I don't have time for the me time because
when you have three young children home all the time.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm running and things just like I said, especially with this. Yeah, with the business being up and running, I am constantly kind of going. I actually find that, and I guess this is kind of a mini me time within the stuff I'm doing. My husband bought me some Beats headphones, like the little inner ear ones.
Sure.
And they're wireless now, so I don't have to be like lugging a bunch of stuff around to listen to music. And I'm a music person, and I have lots of different playlists. And the playlists always have names that sort of suited to how I'm suffering
Your
or
mood.
not suffering. Yeah, at the moment. So like if I'm having a day where I just
So
can't
do you have
take-
like a playlist that's called PMS?
No, I have one that's
Don't
called,
hit the kids.
I have one that's called WTF. Because if I can't with any of y'all, I put that on.
I love that you have soundtracks to the moods of your life.
I do.
That's genius.
I really do. And then I have
You should do a compilation and sell it.
ooh, well, I had to work on the licensing, but that's a good idea. I do have I have one that has a naughty word in it, but I do have a playlist that is really just full tilt. Like it's either listen to this or punch a wall.
Yeah. I was looking back recently on my playlist. I haven't made a playlist in a while, but we have Spotify at home and I'm looking on there and one of them, one was just Natalie. Then it was Natalie 2. Then you could tell I got fancy and it was like cleaning music. And then my favorite one, which I realized I was like, we should pull this one out again. It was Sexy Nighttime.
Wow.
It was all Marvin Gaye.
Wow. That's the subtle playlist you put on and just think while he's washing dishes.
That's
like,
right.
forewarning, you should stretch.
Yeah.
You'd be all right.
Drink some water. You're going to want to
You
hydrate.
should hydrate. That's it. No, none of my playlists for anybody but me. All of them focus in on
Yeah,
like,
but
how
that is your
yeah.
happy place. That for
yeah,
you.
that kind of helps me like
is the
kind of
recliner.
Yeah, balance it. It balances
Yeah.
it back up. Like some like really angry rap music sometimes helps me get through a lot.
Yeah, and again, you found some place or something that you can do when you need to take a moment because especially when kids aren't in school, your kids are home all the time.
Yeah.
And I want to make a point to say too, it's I'm not saying we all of our life situations are different. We can't cookie cutter. What works for me in a happy place, doesn't work for someone else and vice versa. For me, it's my feet up in the recliner
Right.
with a book or watching a show. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah. Some
People
like
have
to-
young kids or God forbid a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Or people are caring for older relatives. Like
exactly.
My mother-in-law is helping to care for her aging father. And
Yeah.
that's a full-time job right now.
Totally.
So yeah, we understand that.
Yeah, and for some people, here's a crazy thing.
Uh-oh.
I've discovered this because I have a couple friends like this. Their happy place is doing all that busy stuff, like actually.
Well, you like
doing
to clean.
things. Oh, I do like to clean.
Yeah, see,
That's true.
I'll never understand in all my years, y'all.
I
You'll
love
never
it.
listen. If you ever hear me say out loud, "I was busy cleaning,"
Yeah.
call for help. That's code for I am being held hostage because I don't enjoy cleaning. I do it well because I want my house to be clean and I want my children and my husband to be and live in a nice condition. But it is not like it does not bring me happiness at all. The first thing I'm going to do when I make real money is hire an assistant. The second thing I'm going to do is hire a maid. That's it. Those two jobs will be forever. I will go without food if I'm going to pay for the maid. Seriously.
No, I like to clean. I like to organize, but that's, again, where that happy place is. I just want to make a point that we're not judging where your happy place is. You figure out. That's for you to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where is your happy place?
And you know what? It's not even everybody's business. Don't feel like you have to tell people that.
I want to know. You need to email me.
We're nosy. We want to know.
You need to tweet it or Facebook it to me, Natalie Webster. Just
but
look
you know
it
what?
up.
But you know what? That's a kind of a good little shift.
Maybe I want to try it out.
Well, no, but even with that, I think a lot of times you get, even in the trying not to be busy and trying not to be melodramatic, you get judged for the things that bring you happiness.
Exactly.
And I know because I happen to travel in the circles of getting joy out of almost everything a 15-year-old girl would get joy out of. And nobody is judged more harshly than 15-year-old girls for the things that they love.
Yeah,
So,
you like your boy band.
Exactly. I love
comic books.
I love my boy bands. I love my comic books. I love my melodramatic, like WB style teen angst shows. I love rom-coms. I love romance novels. Anything that a teenage girl will swoon over usually applies to my life.
Yeah, and that is more get you in your happy place. I love zombies. I love anything post-apocalyptic movies, books,
but people don't like people.
action.
Yeah, people think that's okay. And the thing is, I think we all hit a point where somebody will be. Where it's almost like vulnerable to tell people the things that you love, the things that bring you that joy or allows you to de-stress, because then they judge it, and your default is to feel bad or guilty that you enjoy it when other people think it's foolish or frivolous. That's, I think, if we don't get any other message across right now with this particular episode, it's don't absorb other people's thing. Like, don't let them shift how how you feel about yourself in that moment. It's okay to feel okay about yourself.
Yeah, if you still like to play with Barbie dolls, play with Barbie dolls.
I only do that twice a week with my 8-year-old. But she's really good at it, so I mean, I hang with her. That's okay.
But you're right. I had a friend recently wanted to go to a fair and actually asked to borrow one of my kids. Like, I don't want to go just by myself, and I don't have kids.
Aww.
And I'm like, well, but who's to judge that? Because you enjoy those rides and things like that.
Yeah, you enjoy the fair. But that's funny to me that, that's ultimately what it comes down to is when you're thinking about the concept of it. Like, sometimes we do busy so we can feel like we have worth. Sometimes we do busy because we want to feel needed. Sometimes we do busy to our own distraction, to distract us from things that are important. Yeah. And, and ultimately any of those situations can lead you to become melodramatic over it if you're not keeping sort of the balance of your life in perspective.
Yeah. Because I have found, and one thing, and we talk about this all the time on this show, it's a muscle that you have to exercise when it comes to being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And doing what, makes you happy.
I agree with that.
And finding that balance. And I know I always do better in life overall when I'm doing that and I'm taking my time. So my challenge for myself, I think, is going to be twofold. It's going to be, I'm going to work on giving more honest answers. I'm going to because this is what we're talking about, back off of the melodramaticness of being busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are some things I prioritize and some things I'm not going to prioritize, or at least not at this moment. And I'm going to be okay with it. And I'm not going to make up an excuse for it. I'm just going to be, that's not something I'm prioritizing right now.
Well, I like that. Well, then we should ask the question, make sure we actually answered it today. Are you busy or are you melodramatic?
I am neither.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? I would really like to say after all that talking that I have transcended. I'm not. I'm dramatic as heck. Sorry, y'all.
But I'm doing almost the anti. I'm going
the
the other way.
You caught me on a good day. I don't feel drama heavy today. But next time I might just be like. I mean, half the time I tell you I feel attacked when you talk to me, so I'm dramatic.
No, from here on out, my answer to someone's gonna be like, "Hey, what are you up to?" I'm gonna be like, "Nothing. I'm doing nothing."
And the next time somebody calls and asks me, I'm be like, "None of your business. Why are you so worried about what I'm doing?" I have a life. I have things. That's all I'm gonna do.
I have value, dang it. I have value.
I have value.
Yeah. We're not doing that. We're gonna be good with who we are, where we are.
Exactly.
And what we're doing.
Exactly. Don't let anybody put their stuff on you.
Find your happy place.
Find your happy place. Enjoy
if you're like
Twyla
place. And you want to listen to Korean pop music, you go ahead.
Listen. It'll bring you joy, I promise. It really will.
Or binge watch Christmas movies in July.
that's
I'm hitting all her happy places.
That's going on my calendar right now. It really is. Okay, as always, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you think. We want to know if you're busy, if you're melodramatic, how you combat those feelings, what you do, where's your happy place. If you feel like
better yet, too, message us and tell us all about the people you know who are melodramatic. Nothing makes me feel better than hearing about other hot messes.
Yes, that is true. I think that's kind of her happy place, is listening to other people's hot messes. Make sure you go to the Matriarch Facebook page. Go to Facebook and put in Matriarch Digital Media. If you go in there, you can actually hit the send a message option and hashtag Twyla and Natalie. Send us a message. Let us know what you're thinking. Eventually, we're going to do a fun mailbag show, and we want to hear from you. And as always, we want to hear your questions, your thoughts, and things about the episode that you're listening to. We appreciate you listening. Mm-hmm. And I guess that means